Hey, welcome everybody. It's
I
Wednesday,
love our
7 o'clock.
tiki
Time for
music.
Sci-Fi Distilled. Mary Beth is dancing for some reason.
I just like our tiki music.
I know it is good tiki music. That's why we picked it, or I picked it. Somebody picked it. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Hi, Bill.
Okay, so we are going back to 1971 to a absolute sci-fi classic from the 70s, which is the Andromeda Strain, Michael Crichton's top-selling, based on his top-selling book. This is probably one of the first books I think that became a movie from Michael Crichton, who is kind of a very
I think
prolific
so too.
in the books to movie uh, realm. He's done a lot
He he's done well. I have
yeah.
a quote from him I want to talk about later in the show, and yes, Mr. Crichton has done well.
So, but before that, of course we have some news. So,
We got news.
what do we have for news?
We got news. Sad news. Ken Thorley, who played Mr. Mott, the best barber in Starfleet. Do you guys remember him? He was
Yeah, the
blue.
blue guy,
Yeah,
right?
he has passed. And
Oh,
Patrick Muldoon, who we just kind of recently saw in Starship Troopers, he was the one who was with Denise on the other ship when she was learning to be a pilot. That guy.
yeah.
He has just passed at age of 57. In the news tonight, I have
Sad.
July 3 on Apple TV. Silo is back. This is season
Good
3, and
show.
they are teasing, explaining how it all came to pass. So I am waiting for that. That's going to be
Yeah,
interesting.
that's a good show.
Um,
Recommend.
yeah. News from the well, and this is an old well. I don't know why they're doing this, but Netflix is doing another live action Scooby Doo. Cast pictures have been released. Why, Netflix? Why? Why?
Yeah, I don't know
Also,
why they. I don't know why they would do that. That seems
I
kind of
don't
it's
know either.
been done to death.
Scooby Doo, yeah. Like I mean, I guess if I had little kids and I thought it was gonna be a good, clean show, I'd be like, oh, okay, sure, the kids can watch that. But I don't know. But like you say, from the
James
well,
will like it because it might help promote his
yeah,
mystery.
James will love it because then he can run that van around for
Yeah.
his TV. What not TV tunes? What's
TV
the name of his
TV cars or something.
TV cars or TV
Yeah,
something like
something
that?
like
TV
that.
wheels. I think it's TV wheels.
Oh.
Also, Netflix. This is also kind of news from the well. Netflix's live action Gundam. For those of you who like anime and used to watch the Gundam stuff, the live action Gundam cast has been revealed, and that production is getting out of the way. The cast does include Jason Isaacs as somebody from Gundam. I don't know. Okay, Rizzo. Super Troopers
I knew
3
you were going to bring this up.
has dropped a trailer. Did you watch it?
I did watch it.
What do you think? Because I have opinions.
It's hard to say. It's. I mean, Yeah. I wasn't I wasn't as super like this is the coolest thing ever. Like I can't wait to see it. But it
I
didn't look.
agree.
I mean, it looked pretty much on course for
It
what they're
was
going to do.
looking funny, and then they kind of revealed the plot of Farva's plot
Arv
line,
is
and I'm like,
marrying what's his name's Ramathorn's sister.
Ramathorn's sister, yeah, and I'm like, what? No, please don't. And they're like, we're gonna do racism jokes. I'm like, no, don't do racism jokes. There's all kinds of
Well, I
America's
mean,
moved on from racism
yeah, I
jokes.
know. Maybe it's going to be more
We're
like
into MAGA jokes now. Come
somewhere
on.
like a Blazing Saddles kind of thing. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm gonna trust the guys to handle it well, but I don't trust the
We'll
guys
see.
to
I mean,
handle it.
it's funny because it comes out. I think it comes out right the weekend of Star Trek Las Vegas. So
Oh, does
maybe
it really? Yeah,
if
you're right.
I'm
It's
bored,
August
it's
something.
August
Yeah.
7th. Yeah. So the other one that came out today that I thought was great, I sent you the link for was that
Yes.
Coyote versus Acme. So
Why
do you
is
guys
that coming out?
end of August, like the 27th or something like that.
But why?
August.
Why? Again, we're going back to the well. We have to
Is it
have
the
more.
well though? Is it because yes, there's been other Warner Brothers cartoon movies, but this one and they've mixed live action with cartoons. That's been done, yes.
That's been done.
But this looks like it has a funnier twist on it because I mean I grew up with Wile E. Coyote trying to catch the
And the
Roadrunner,
Roadrunner.
and the Acme, the joke was always the Acme rocket or the Acme skates, or so the basic premise is that Acme gets sued all the time, and now the Coyote is suing Acme for all the things that's gone wrong, and it looks funny, and It's got John Cena, it looks like, in it, and some other people that are I don't.
See,
Anyway,
right
look
now,
up the trailer.
John
It's
Cena
funny. I
can do
think
no
I
wrong.
think it's worth watching the trailer. I was actually more excited about that than the Super Troopers one. Because I said
All
that's
right,
I gotta
well,
go see
that's
because I
saying
think it's
something.
I just got the sense that it's gonna be really funny because especially those of us that grew up, there's gonna be a lot of those stupid cartoon jokes in there, which
Yeah,
we need that
yeah,
kind of
there
thing,
will
you
be.
know? We need
All
that
right,
kind.
yeah, you know what? Maybe this one's targeted at Gen X.
Maybe. I don't know. It didn't really, I mean, it didn't seem like it was really aimed at kids. Like it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? Like it didn't, to me, it gave the sense that this was kind of aimed somewhat at adults to a certain degree and not just,
Yeah,
I mean, I think
yeah,
children can watch it. I'm sure it's not, it's probably just
but yeah, it'll be
PG or
one of those things
something.
where some of the jokes just go meow right over
Yeah.
the
But I
head.
think some of the jokes were going to be,
Yeah.
because I don't know how many kids today watch if the Looney Tunes stuff is even, it's not on anywhere. So unless the parents,
No, I mean, I
I had
guess
them
it's
on
some.
DVD. I had bought like a whole set of Warner Brothers, the DVDs of the old Bugs Bunny and stuff. But class, I have that, and I have Schoolhouse Rock, which is another one. I think if
Oh, that
you have
needs to be
children,
on
you
the
need to
air
show
again.
them Schoolhouse Rock because that's how I got through middle school and some of
That's
high
how we
school. Was
all learned everything we know
yes,
about civics.
how do you know the preamble to the Constitution?
We sing it.
It's because we sing it. We learn things by singing them. Bill
All
saying
right, moving
MeTV.
on.
I assume you meant Warner. You're talking about uh, Bugs Bunny when he's talking about MeTV shows them.
Yeah,
I don't know anybody that shows Schoolhouse Rock anymore.
I don't think it's on the air anymore. It should be.
That was Saturday morning.
I know some
Saturday
I know some
morning.
adults that need it.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
right, moving on. Sebastian Stan has been cast as Two-Face in Batman Part 2 with Viggo Mortensen as the other dent there. So that thing's chugging along. Avenger. Oh, okay, Rizzo. Did you catch any of the Avenger Doomsday kerfluffle that just came out?
Yes, some of it. Again, I'm not the huge biggest. I mean, I don't know. I'm burned out on superheroes.
Yeah, I'm a little bit burned out too. Some of
I
it.
mean, the only thing I went to see Deadpool Wolverine because I love Deadpool.
It's Deadpool.
The Ryan Reynolds Deadpool. So there was no question I was going to go see that. But beyond that, I don't go. I did go see. What was the second to last? Wasn't Infinity War? Was it Infinity War? What was the second? Was
Thunderbolts?
that one? What was the last one? The last one with the big ending
Oh,
where they beat.
Civil War and then Infinity
No,
War.
no, it wasn't Civil War. It was whatever. The second to last big one where they all disappear at the end. Half the people disappear at the end. That's the last one I
They all
saw in the
snap.
theater.
Yeah.
That was the last
Okay.
one I saw in the theater. And the other one, I didn't even bother. I think I waited till it was out on streaming or something because I heard it was like 3 hours long, and I can't sit in a movie theater for 3 hours.
3 hours. Yeah. Well, the Avengers Doomsday. Now, Avengers Doomsday, for those of you who don't remember, is the one that has every single actor that has ever been part of the MCU. They're going to somehow cram them all back into this movie. It's going to have cameo.
And maybe Dr. Doom will wipe them all out.
Maybe. Start fresh.
Do you know what I heard? What Robert Downey Jr. got for that? I mean, it was an insane amount. It was like $100 million.
Yeah, he's playing Dr. Doom too.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like an insane amount of money.
Yeah. The one real trailer is out, and also 1 million AI versions are out. You have to be very careful and double check everything you watch because there are a lot of AI versions. So many of these hit my social media feed. It took a little while for me to sort out what was real and what wasn't. And as I had previously reported, Hollywood is still planning to sue AI creators. Apparently, so this trailer was dropped in I think CinemaCon, and there was rumors coming out of CinemaCon that people who were in the room, like, yeah, there were people, if they caught you sitting there with your phone like this, trying to film the trailer, you got escorted out. And then there were other rumors that if you were seen sitting there with your phone like this, trying to film the trailer, there was a bank of lasers like kind of up above the screen, and they'd shoot the laser sort of back to blind your phone.
I heard that. There was like
I
some
don't know if any of that
light
is
or
true.
something. Yeah, I heard that too, that there was some green laser light or something that was put in.
I cannot
to try to
confirm
thwart
that.
the phones from recording the trailer.
Yeah, because they did not want this trailer to get out, but apparently some of it did get out. So that has happened. And so I will get some cleaner stuff on Doomsday soon. Project Hail Mary has just been granted a theatrical extension. an extended theatrical release. So it's going to be in theaters a bit longer because it is doing so well. That pushes back its streaming release, which is a bummer for people like me who are waiting to see it at home. However, if you don't mind sailing the high seas, you can still see it at home. There are some clean versions out. Finally tonight, and Rizzo, you might know more about this than I do. Luna Replicas, which is a company, a store, a company store, but by our friend Max Kaiserman, is hosting a special event called Mission 60s, October 23 to 25 at the historic TWA Hotel. This is an older hotel, you guys, that still kind of looks like the 60s.
Well, it's actually not old. They built this specifically to look like 1960s. Yes, everything in it is vintage. Even the whole, I believe the hotel rooms still have rotary phones.
Oh, nice.
They rebuilt the, so it's a TWA hotel at Kennedy Airport.
It's at JFK, yeah. So this is a 3-day event. It's the write-up says it's inspired by optimism, design, and ambition of the of NASA's 1960s space program. And it is hosted inside the Yarrow Saarinen iconic TWA Flight Center, hosted by Luna Replicas and Space for Humanity. Guests include folks like Apollo flight director Jerry Griffin, astronaut Nicole Stott, and our own Doug Drexler. So
Doug Drexler go to they're going to do a little mix with some Star Trek stuff. I think he might get some more Star Trek people in there.
Yep, he might. I think he was talking to the maybe, I don't remember. But yeah, they're trying to kind of pump up that event, and I wish them so much success. That's so cool, especially now that we've just had that amazing, successful Artemis mission, and people are really pumped and jazzed again about space flight and going back to the moon. I think this is just absolutely.
I will be there. I will be helping Max. I think he's putting me on AV.
Good.
Go figure. But one of the cool things, since you brought it up, I don't know, those of you who watched the Artemis, particularly the landing, the splashdown, and watched the link when the baseball hats that the astronauts got.
Oh, they pulled a picture.
And they had the name of the ship that they were picked up, just like. So I have this is what they kind of gave out to so this is a replica of the one for Apollo 13, the USS Iwo Jima Apollo 13. So they had the same things made for the Artemis astronauts with their name on it. And Max had those made, and there was a great CNN story about it. He went to the launch, met somebody from NASA, said, I made these hats, because he said, of course, he sells them as well. And he figured they would just take them and give it to them at some point. Well, they were so excited, they took the hats, brought them to San Diego onto the ship, and gave them directly to the astronauts as they're getting off the helicopter. And apparently the astronauts were surprised and thrilled, and they never took them off, apparently. So I thought that was really cool.
Share a screen.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm going to see if you guys can see it. Can you see that? I believe those are the hats.
I think I have to put it up.
Oh, you have to put it up. Okay.
Yeah. So those are the hats. Yeah, those are the hats. And see there, they're wearing them. It's crazy. So yeah, it was really cool that he got those and he did that. So, but if you're interested, you can go to Luna Replicas, I believe, and buy those hats. So, and they're good quality hats. They're fitted, so they have to know your head size, and they're like, at least if they're like the Apollo ones, they're wool hats. They're not cheap. They're not junk.
They're nice hats, yeah.
They're very high quality.
Chris is here. Bill is here. Jeff is here.
Anyway, thought I'd just give Max a little plug there. His stuff is always cool.
All his stuff we'll plug him on and off until October.
Yeah, because all his stuff is really
JFK and go to
really well made, and it's really cool NASA stuff.
All right, Rizzo, what are we drinking tonight as we try not to catch?
No, sorry, Bill. It was not. What was the stuff the guy was drinking?
The squeeze.
Squeeze. It was not squeeze. It was apparently Sterno. I came up with this one. It's called a quarantine order. So we got Jamaican rum, lime juice, grapefruit juice, cinnamon syrup, passion fruit syrup, bitters. Pretty much, yeah. That's it's just rum. It's a rum drink with a bunch of fruit. So, it's probably good. I don't know. Didn't make it. I don't have I don't think I have grapefruit juice. Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
cinnamon. That should be good.
thought it was quarantine. It
I
was
didn't.
hard.
You know
So
what? Sometimes when you come up with these drinks, you come up with ingredients that I have never
some
didn't
of
even
them,
know
there
existed.
are
I
some
didn't know
really
there was such a thing as cinnamon syrup.
the more I get into mixology over the years, the more I find out there are all these really
All these things,
bizarre things
unique things that's only for that
that,
one drink.
yeah, it's really some weird stuff that people come up with. So, if you're a Jack and Coke kind of guy, then, or person, or, whiskey
Our
sour,
show's not for you.
yeah, you're not really pushing the envelope, let's say, when it comes to drinks. So anyway, all right, 1971, Michael Crichton's top-selling book from 1970, I believe, 69. I'm not sure what year actually the book was introduced. But they made the film. It was a long film for the day because
Yeah.
it was over 2 hours, which was a
Yeah.
little unusual. And it was really the story. I don't want to say it. It holds up in some ways, in other ways, it does not.
A lot of it holds up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I understand, and we can dive into it. Yeah.
yeah. So, but I mean, the basic premise is that, and I didn't catch this because I hadn't seen it in a while, and I think the only time I ever saw it before was like the ABC Sunday night movie or something that was on in the 80s or something. But apparently, the government had this satellite that was designed. I thought it was just a crash satellite, but it was designed to collect material from space. It was called Scoop, literally called Scoop.
Yes.
So apparently it was collected. Now that was the kind of the running theme that I never really caught the first time I watched it, was that basically the implication is that the government kind of was looking for something on purpose for germ warfare. And they kind of allude to it in a lot of kind of roundabout ways. I mean, they had the maps that
A
were
lot of this movie is so subtle. Like, you have to either know it's there or pay close attention. And guys, this is not an action movie. This is not a shoot 'em up.
no.
This is like people standing there and talking for 2 entire
Yeah,
hours.
it could have been. It definitely could have been tightened up. There's a lot
It
of
maybe, yeah,
things that
maybe.
just took a lot of time that wasn't necessary. Some of the scenes, you remember, what was the movie with Martin Short where he gets shrunk, where the guy gets shrunk and he gets Inner Space? You
Oh,
remember
yeah.
Inner
Oh,
Space?
yeah.
So there was a thing where the chip had to be inserted into the computers to make the shrinking machine works, and had this robotic arm, and it would pick it up and it'd go through these motions and then go put it in. And it would take like a minute for this thing to do this. And at one point they're in a hurry and somebody finally just grab the thing and shove it. It's like,
Here's the thing. I'm going to
it was kind of
explain.
like that at times where you're just like, why are we
Yeah,
watching this overly, slow?
slow
They pick
thing.
up the cage and
I'm
they
going to
move it
explain why. I can tell you why it was so slow. Every single thing on that set and every single procedure that they did on that set was 100% real. Whatever the CDC or whatever biohazard or biocontainment lab or facility had, they had exactly. And if that was how a real biohazard biocontainment facility did things, that is how they did it on the set. Those actors were trained for weeks before they ever filmed to do things exactly as scientists would do. And sometimes shit takes time, right? So, and there's a lot of examples of how that kind of bit them in the ass a few times, but they were making the most, and Crichton stuff tends to be fairly
Yeah,
scientifically
usually
accurate.
he's very
They were making
scientifically
the most
accurate.
scientifically accurate film that they could make for that era. Like, it was unbelievable what they put. Like, if there was a door that locked from there was a door that locked, and if there's something was on a timer, it was on a timer. Like, there was no Hollywood.
Uh-oh, she's frozen. Or am I frozen? Not sure what's going on. Hope people see it. Anyway, I will
Did we just
continue.
glitch? What just
Yeah, you
happened?
froze on my end. I don't know if I froze or what.
You froze on my end. That's funny.
So
Okay,
we all
anyway.
froze. We're all frozen.
We all froze. Are we back? Are we still on Facebook? Let me go look on Facebook.
It shows that we're still online. Nothing showed that we were offline. So anyway, yeah. So that's cool that they're being very accurate. But again, I think it did slow things down a little bit. I mean, by today's standards, I think for 1971 it was probably fine. I think audiences aren't quite at that time hadn't been um what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of, you know, used to faster paced movies, action. You know what I'm saying? I think they were used to seeing movies that kind of took their
Yeah,
time and
yeah,
had more conversation and less. But you're right, it's not an action film. It's considered like a thriller, a suspense type thing.
yeah,
I think the trailer said no one will be sitting down the last 10 minutes of the film
yeah,
was the
yeah,
trailer, which I'm like, oh, I was sitting.
yeah. It
Of course, I knew it was going to
but
happen.
this movie kind of wasn't. I mean, I guess it was sci-fi, but it was more like techno thriller, maybe. Like I
Yeah, I
don't
mean, it
know.
was suspense because there
It
was
was
the whole thing. Well,
suspense.
you had a couple of things because, of course, so the premise is that the satellite comes out. There's some kind of bug on the satellite. It
Yep,
kills this
virus.
incredibly small town, which was just fortuitous
Piedmont dead.
that it
Everybody dead.
landed in the Piedmont, New Mexico, of a
New
whole population
Mexico
of
or
69
or
people.
Nevada.
No, it was New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Where wildfire was in Nevada,
Oh,
where the lab was in Nevada. So luckily it lands in this town with only 69 people. So imagine if it had landed in New York
67
City
dead.
or
2 lived.
two
Wow.
lived. Right, right. So you had a baby lived and a old man lived. Um, but so they basically they go to get the satellite and then they discover all the people dead. Well, actually, no, 69 did die because the two Air Force guys in the van
Oh, yeah, actually,
died.
you're right. So 71 people or whatever. I
Yeah,
forget.
so the two guys in the van died when they got there. Which, speaking of the van, it kind of cracked me up when the van is a piece of shit. I'm like, is this
That's
thing the best thing the military could come up with? Is this piece of
that's
crap?
probably very accurate. That's probably very accurate.
I mean, I don't know. There's some old stuff, but this thing was like something they got out of like a junkyard. I just thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, we can't afford, we're top secret, top whatever, and they're going to get this satellite, and they've got this van that I don't
Yeah,
know.
Bill says the jet too. I think
Well,
that tracks.
the jet
I
was a
do
F
for 1971.
well, the jet was current for the time. It was an F4 Phantom, so that still would have been flying in that era. So that's kind of correct.
Phil says the van was to blend in with its surroundings, which if you
Yeah,
look
I
at
don't know,
Piedmont,
maybe
yeah.
with the big typical satellite
They had
thing
the big yeah, the
spinning
satellite coming
because
out
it
from
always comes up out of the roof, and I'm like, well, where was
yeah,
it? It
that
was
was like the
somehow
opening
down
shot.
inside the
Not the
thing and
opening
it
shot, but
popped
one of
up.
the early shots was like
Yeah, yeah, you
and
see
then
the doors opening up and this thing coming up. It's kind of funny. It was a little hokey. I thought that part a little
so
hokey.
much for accuracy, Robert
So
Wise.
so anyway, they apparently they had enough forethought to have a secret lab buried under the ground to research such an occurrence. Although we kind of find out it was really probably there to research biological weapons and not necessarily set up for
Bruce figures that
extraterrestrial.
out real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, extra. Now this was kind of a real concern in that era because remember, the Apollo missions were going on, and they were very worried that the astronauts would bring something back from space. I think they kind of realized that vacuum really isn't a really good medium for any kind of life that would be compatible with ours enough to kill us. But I know Doc would be a great person to weigh in on
Yeah, we should have asked
what
our. Are
they
there?
do.
I
I
feel like
don't know. I
there
don't
are
think they still
pathogens.
quarantine them like they used to. Like when they'd come back, they'd quarantine them for weeks. They couldn't come out of this like van thing, this basically a camper, until they made sure they didn't get sick. And now I don't think they do that anymore. They quarantine them before they go in so they know they're not sick when they go up. But I don't think they quarantine them coming out anymore. I could be wrong. Doc would be able to one to answer that. Anyway,
I want to know from Doc, can pathogens survive the vacuum of space? That's what
I would imagine a virus could, because a virus can be dormant because a virus isn't really a living or well, it's
It could be
living.
frozen.
But
if it's just frozen and then
yeah,
shot
that's what
from
I'm saying.
space,
I imagine it could.
come into the atmosphere and defrost.
I mean, that's kind of what happened.
We found frozen stuff up in the Antarctic. Like we've dug up viruses and stuff up there.
Yeah, so I think probably a virus could, but again, what the hell do I know?
Yeah, Phil, the set tour does not need that van. James.
Don't give him any ideas.
Don't give them ideas. So
So anyway, so obviously they go, and this lab is like built in like layers. It's maybe where they got the idea for silo. Each floor you go down becomes more sterile, or there's more decontamination
yeah,
until you
the
get to the
color
lab.
coding
They
on
have
the
this windy. It was
floor.
very again that was very 70s, I think 60s. The colors, the red, the yellow. Each floor had a different color. Um, um, but so that was kind of neat. I think the other part is I kind of laughed when they said, "Well, we're going to put in more of these." Um, they call it the self-destruct shutdown stations. They won't be active till Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, not
The
till
the
Tuesday.
the colors that go down it are still the colors that they were deliberately chosen. So there's this whole psychological study of the impact of color. Color does impact you psychologically, and it's very subtle whether you realize it or not. And as they go down, the colors get like worse, and test audiences were reporting a more of a sense of like claustrophobia and like general discomfort as they go down. And so it's the same warning color scheme that we have today that kind of starts at white and then goes yellow and then orange and then reds. Like there may be some other colors in there, but then like red is the worst.
Yeah.
Red is the most warning, the most dire, because psychologically that's how those colors affect you. So yeah, that to this day those colors are used in that order. Usually the other way around. This one what got worse going down. They flipped it and made it go worse going up. But like terror warning and COVID warnings and all kinds of warnings. You
Yeah,
see
it's
that.
kind of like DEF CON. If you look at the
Yeah,
DEF
it's like
CON
DEF
thing, it's
CON.
like
Yeah.
the red, yellow, blue. Yeah.
Yeah,
White is
plaid. When they go
green.
to plaid, like on
They go, yeah, they
Spaceballs.
went plaid.
Phil's back. Man, Phil, we haven't seen you on the show for a long time.
Ludicrous Speed. That's
Phil,
coming out.
Before the show started, I was chatting with Phil, and he was saying how much he liked this movie, and I was like, God, if I'd known that, we could have had him on.
Could have come on, Phil. Too late. I mean, I like this movie too. I like it. It's a good movie. I think it's entertaining.
It's a very, very smart movie. But here's the thing. I wish I had done the research first and then watched the movie, because I think I would have appreciated so much more about the movie more. Knowing what they poured into this thing.
Yeah, well, just talking about that. I mean, you're talking about the set of Wildfire, which is the lab. They spent $300,000 to build that, which is a lot in 1971.
Yeah,
and it was one of the most elaborate interiors ever built at the time.
Yeah,
you figure
but they only had one round corridor, and they just kept repainting it different.
They just repainted. That's very Star Trek.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. And everywhere they could, like I was saying before, they wanted to be accurate, so they were like pulling real scientific equipment from actual labs and universities around California to put in this lab, in this set, to use them as they would be used. And one example of something that kind of went wrong with that was they're doing the decontamination shower scene, and Kate Reed, who played Dr. Ruth Levitt, was up first. So, and this thing was going to run exactly like a real decontamination shower. It was there were like 3 shower heads that were going to shoot a disinfectant. And you go in, the door locks, and there's a timer. You can't get out because the door is locked. So Ruth goes in, the shower heads come on, and apparently instead of like regular shower, like she expected, it's fire hose pressure, like shooting at her face. And she didn't expect that. She didn't know it was coming. Kind of got a face full. This disinfectant is now very slippery on the floor. And she kind of did a whoop, 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 and down she goes. And she's on the floor. And the guys outside are like, oh, crap, open it up, let her. And they're like, we can't. It's on a timer, just like a real decontamination shower would be. So she had to like sit there under fire hose pressure, like shooting at her.
Maybe they took that a little too far. A little too far.
She is a trooper, though. She did come back she got herself cleaned up. Took a few minutes, and then came back and shot the scene again, and they had since adjusted the pressure or whatever. She just wasn't. It was like, if I shot you in the face with a fire hose, you'd be.
Well, fire hose is quite a bit of pressure. It could really hurt you. It probably isn't fire hose pressure, but it's probably pretty strong, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's probably pretty strong. Everything I read described it as fire hose pressure.
Yeah, but it depends on the fire hose, I guess.
All the time.
They used to use that. They used to use that for crowd control.
Yeah,
they used to use fire hoses for crowd control. Yeah.
The other thing that they did was completely real, all the timers and stuff. So when what's his name had to climb up the ladder in like the silo section to get to the shut off, and he shuts it off at 9, and I was like, you were supposed to wait till 1. They would just turn on like this blaring alarm. this guy was afraid of heights, and they were just like, okay, so starting the timer and go. And he would try, and he missed it. He couldn't make it in time, like 3 or 4 shots or 3 or 4 attempts. And then finally he made it. And so when you see him like by the end and he's like turning that key and he looks really sweaty and exhausted, he was genuinely sweaty and exhausted. He had done
part
this
of
thing
that
like 4 or 5
scene
times.
when he finally gets up to the floor where there's a working station. And there's that, I guess, I don't know, she's like a technician or a nurse or something, and he sees her and he's like, help me. I'm trying to, she just runs away. And I'm like, who are these people they hired for this place? Like, wouldn't you think if
When
it's the
Ruth
top?
has her
No, there's that. They think she's infected. So,
they just ran
okay,
away then,
maybe.
yeah.
But when he's trying to shut the self-destruct off, right? He gets up there and he's like groggy because he got hit in the head with the laser or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sees
Real
another
laser.
technician and she's dressed as, she's like on the, I don't know, she's like, and she just backs away like he's some kind of monster and runs away. And he's like, I'm trying to stop. She has to know that the
that's a really good
self-destruct
point.
is running and he has the key.
She
Why
couldn't
wouldn't
maybe
you
like,
help
you're
him?
tired? Give me the key. I'll go do it. Yeah, I'm fresh. I'm
But I'm like,
pass
if
the
you're
baton,
saying
man.
you're that
Pass the baton.
scared, who are
I'll
these
be the next
people they
Blade.
hired? You know, I would think if you're being, that's all.
Phil was saying, and he suggested Brainstorm for us, and we did watch it. Phil saying, I think Doug Trumbull based his scientists in Brainstorm on Ruth. Yeah, I want to talk about Ruth. Both chain
Because of the
smokers,
smoking
both kind
thing.
of anti-establishment and abrasive. Yeah, Phil, that is a great. Ruth was a deliberate choice on the part of Robert Wise because the character is male in the book, and they deliberately chose to make her.
And she almost really screwed the pooch because of her epilepsy.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
because
at the end,
why?
yeah.
I mean, she missed the thing that stopped it from growing because she started to have the red, and she knew this. So again, that's on her because she wouldn't want to tell anybody that she had epilepsy, which I find it sus that they wouldn't have known that. But
yeah, but she still did her part in the whole thing.
In the end, but I mean, she could have been a really liability.
Well, yeah, the studio was like, and Robert Wise was like, no, let's not have a woman because that's just eye candy. And then, it was the 70s, so like, what woman would be a scientist? Like they just weren't into it, and they were like, no, it's cool. We're gonna get Kate Reed, and they convinced. And you know what? I mean, Kate was brilliant. I thought she was actually brilliant in this role, and it's very, very obviously that she's not there for eye candy. She's not there for sex appeal.
Clearly
she's
not.
another brain working on this problem. You know what I mean? And that's all she is. And I like that, and I appreciate that. As good as they did with Kate, they kind of screwed over Paula Kelly, who played Karen. I can't think, the black girl who played Karen, whatever it is.
Oh, the nurse. She was a nurse.
They hired her, and she notices they were filming that her lines were getting cut and some scenes of her were getting cut. And she was like, and at first she thought, oh, it's just editing stuff. But then she was like, wait a minute, you're cutting me out of half this. Like, she had another bigger part to play. And she's like, that whole scene is gone. What the hell? And they had to tell her, yeah, we don't know how this thing is going to play in the South. So we got to kind of cut your black character. But I'm like, what the hell?
It's
racism.
It's so hard to imagine that. I mean, it isn't really when you think.
No, it's not really. We still see it to this day,
I guess, but it is kind of amazing that they literally had those conversations out loud. You know what I'm saying? That it's still.
We need to make it more universally.
Keep in mind, this movie's pushing 50 years old.
1971.
So it's older than 50. Yeah, so it's 50. So it's 55 years old. So yeah, it's getting. Yeah, what am I saying? So it's pretty old. I mean, so it's half a century.
This movie and I were both born in 1971.
A banner year.
A banner year.
So, but anyway, yeah, it's just amazing me. You're right that. But I think those people probably were used to that, kind of expecting that, that's going to happen.
Phil's still talking to us. Phil's like, yeah, he's talking about. I was talking about Kate Reed's character there, Ruth Levitt. But then he's like, I agree, but at the same time, they had to have some kind of big tension like that. Yes, they had to have something for the finale because otherwise, this is a very slow moving film. And it's spooling out very deliberately because they have all this science to do. So we need a big action or semi-action sequence at the end. Phil, what did you think about the ultimate ending of the film where basically the virus just kind of mutates into something else and it's
It
kind of
does kind
harmless
of
and
fizzle.
we just got lucky.
Yeah, it does fizzle out.
It fizzles out.
And again, I'm not a scientist. I don't know how they would go about it, but it seems
We
like the
should have
first
had
thing you would
Doc on
do.
for this show.
Yeah, well, he's kind of busy right now.
He's busy right now.
I'm going to try to get him to come on at some later date just to talk about Artemis.
Shoot him a message. Say, hey, we did Andromeda Strain. We'd love to talk to you. When are you free? And see if he's free.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk to him about Artemis. The hell with this movie.
Well, no, I don't want to talk about. Yeah, we don't need to talk about Andromeda, but yeah, I just ask him when he's free.
Anyway, lost my train. Well, I was going to say, I think the first thing they would do is, and I guess they were doing that in the petri dishes. They were trying to see what would keep it from growing or at least kill it. And I think it would have been pretty obvious. It's kind of amazing that it lived. If it only lived in a very narrow pH range, I would think it would have not been able to survive pretty much almost at all because pH varies so wildly throughout our environment.
Yeah, it really does.
So I think that was, again, I'm not a scientist, so maybe somebody could refute that and say, no, that it would totally be normal. And I don't know if a silicon-based life form would interact with our carbon-based life form to the point where it would kill us.
Yeah, that's a good question too. Bill is saying it's realistic COVID fizzled out. Yeah, well, COVID just keeps mutating into other things. And what we're lucky in, Bill, is that it hasn't mutated to something far, 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 far worse. That's where we're lucky.
And well, that's kind of so traditionally, from what I understand, again, take this with a grain of salt. But when you have these kind of horrible diseases, and COVID isn't the first time the world has had a pandemic. I mean, we had, bubonic plague.
No, we've had a gazillion of them.
Something. But what happens is when you have these very virulent, at least the theory is these very virulent viruses, they tend to, after they've blown through quite a few people, not burn themselves out, but change enough to the point where they don't become as lethal.
They change and we kind of develop our own immune.
Well, you eventually, and that's partly why COVID is under control because of the vaccines.
Yeah. Phil is saying that the movie's more about the actual solving of the puzzle. Yeah, the movie is about all the procedures and steps they take to tackle.
Well, yeah, they spend almost the half of the movie just getting into the lab,
just getting
prepared, going through all the cleaning, going through, it's so part of it is collecting the satellite.
Yeah.
And then half the movie is before they actually start to research the thing. But yeah, I think the ending seemed kind of okay. We need to wrap this up, and it has to be quick. And it's gonna go over the ocean, and we're gonna cloud seed it and rain.
We're gonna cloud seed,
and hopefully it'll rain, and it'll end up in the ocean and die.
Yeah. So. Is the book? It kind of mutated into something less. Was it the book? Am I getting the book?
Well, it's kind of what happened that it did because it did. It kind of mutated. It did mutate to a point where it became non-lethal.
Although, do you remember at the very, very end, there's feed coming into the computer, and then the computer's flashing 601, which was their code for information that was coming in.
Yeah, it was too overload.
So I guess they kind of left it a little bit vague at the end. Maybe it did turn bad or something. I don't know, but.
Well, it was. You're kind of right for either this came back or something. You could easily have a sequel.
Yeah, that's true too. I want to talk about Michael Crichton. I think if this wasn't his actual first book that he ever got sold to him.
Well, he wrote this when he was still in medical school.
Yeah, he was. This is the quote that I'm watching an interview with him, and he's older now, and he was still younger when he did this interview. And he was like, "Yeah, he's saying how he got the idea to write the book and all that stuff." He's like, yeah, I really wanted to be an author. I really wanted to write, but I had read somewhere that only 200 people in America can make their living off of selling their writing and selling books. They can make only 200. And I thought those odds were pretty steep. So then I heard that like 6,000 people a year become doctors. And I thought those odds were better. So I went to medical school. I just was like, what? 6,000? You thought those odds were better?
More than that now. But yeah, he got the idea by talking to a colleague about a silicon or crystalline based life form, and that's what gave him the idea for the story.
Yeah, and also maybe something else about pathogens from space or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's what he got. He wrote it. Yeah, so I think this is one of his first books.
don't know him. Oh, and he has a cameo in the very beginning of the movie when they're gathering that doctor from out of surgery, and he's like in surgery. He's like, I'm about to cut the patient open. The people on the other side of the glass going, yeah, come on out, we need you. There's a surgeon right to there on the screen. It's to the right. That's Michael Crichton, a very young baby face Michael Crichton.
Yeah, so you guys, I mean, you know the name, right? I mean, he's also very famous, probably his most famous book and story would be Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. Hang on, I'm pulling up.
Didn't he also did he do the one
Rising Sun? He did Rising Sun.
Coma.
He did Coma.
Yeah, that was another thriller from the late 70s.
He did Sphere, which he did do. He did The Great. No, I'm sorry, that's a lie. I'm lying to you that he didn't do that. He did The Great Train Robbery. Like and mostly he does a lot of science stuff, but sometimes he veers off and just does like some other stuff. Like
so many of his books have become movies.
Movies, yeah.
And of course, like I said, I think the most famous one.
He's written books on coding. He's written books on global warming. Like he is just
he's prolific.
Incredibly like erudite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's very prolific with his writing and very broad with his writing.
And very broad, yeah.
Like I said, I mean, I think Jurassic Park. I've read several of his books. I think his what he writes for thriller or suspense, he does it very well. Yeah, and we've talked about this when we did Jurassic Park. The book, I couldn't put that book down. I mean, that's pretty rare that I will like literally rip through a book that fast. I read that book so fast because he had the tension ramped up so high that you were just like, I got to find out what happens. I got to find out what happens. I got to, you know. And I think, again, we've talked about that. I think he lost some of that when they made the movie. I think they took some of it away, and I think it was a mistake.
He wrote Jurassic Park and The Lost World, but then the rest of the movies were not.
The Lost World, the subsequent books weren't nearly as good. The Sphere was an excellent book, but the movie was just abysmal. I don't know what I think it was. I think it was casting was bad. I think it was
State of Fear, and he wrote and directed some of Westworld. He didn't write the original Westworld, but he wrote.
Coma was a very good movie as well. Coma was popular, a very popular movie in its day. That was when they were basically
created the television series ER. I mean, the man he's just all over the place, prolific, incredibly prolific. And his themes go from sci-fi, medical fiction, paleontology, zoology, genetic modification, programming, like unbelievable. He does have a doctorate from Harvard. He never actually did practice medicine, but
Phil apparently didn't like Sphere, but Phil also liked the music episode of Stranger World. So put that in context.
What did he do for Coma? Hang on, Phil. I mean, look, I just was looking at. Why does it say
Coma was a good movie. I didn't even realize that was a book until much later. That was a good film. That was basically where they were harvesting people's organs. They were keeping people in comas to harvest their organs for other people.
Oh, sorry, Phil. It says he wrote and directed the suspense film, so I think he wrote the screenplay. Yeah, based from the 1977 novel by the same name, by Robin Cook. Yeah. You guys are right. But yeah, he just if he didn't write it himself, he took somebody else's stuff and made it a screenplay. He's crazy good. So some people get all the brain power.
We did talk a little bit about the cast, a tiny bit, but
the cast was deliberately chosen and carefully chosen by Robert Wise. Robert did not want a standout star. He said, I don't want any stars. This movie is about these procedures. This movie is about how they're going to tackle this problem. So he didn't want anybody to stand out, but he did choose very accomplished actors. They were just kind of all character actors that are sort of, not the standout leads. They usually kind of play the background stuff. And it made for, I think, you believe.
Yeah, I think, Arthur Hill was certainly known. And I think David Wayne was definitely known at the time. That David Wayne especially. David Wayne especially was like in everything.
Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like in everything at that time. It seemed like He was
They
such
were
a
around.
recognizable. I don't like maybe necessarily knew his acting. You know, he's like one of those people. Oh, I need to see that guy, but I don't remember his name. You
Yeah,
know?
you recognize the face.
So, but even the major, the guy Raymond, I think it's Beery, pronounce his name. He was in a ton of stuff back then, so you recognize, the name
Phil, Phil,
the
Phil,
face.
where did you get West Side Story? I did not get West Side Story out of this. The color palette and the pacing is close to Star Trek: The Motion. Yes, in the beginning when there's a lot of gray, it is close to Star Trek: The Motion Picture, but then it does move into the other colors. One thing I wanted to point out was the music of this thing. The music, Robert Wise did not want a score, and he specifically asked for no score. So at first, when they first finished the movie and brought it to the studio, it had nothing, no music, nothing. It was just people talking. And the studio was like, "Oh hell no!" So the studio said, "You got to put something in this." So they got Gil Millet, I think his name is, who is the same guy that did the sound. Him and his wife did the music for Forbidden Planet, one of your favorites, Rizzo. And if you listen really carefully, you can kind of. So it's not music at
A
all.
lot of
It's
electronic
an
sounds.
effects.
That's
Yeah, it's
not.
like
It's not really
electronic.
music. It's electronic sounds.
It's
They use
electronic, and
they use the same kind of effects in Logan's Run.
yes, they did use the same kind of
The
thing.
computer, whenever they do this wow, wow, kind of
Yeah.
a whatever it is, that was like, I don't know if it was
But
a
you can
theremin
you
or
can hear it. Like
yeah,
when you really listen for it, you're like, oh yeah, that does kind of sound Forbidden Planet-y. Yeah,
yeah,
I
and
get
it's
it.
same thing. Like I said, to me, it struck more Logan's Run than Forbidden Planet, and I guess because I
You know
think they
what?
use
I
some of the
mentioned
exact same
Logan's Run
sounds.
too at the very beginning. I was like, this is very very Logan's Runny.
It has a very Logan's Run feel to it, but again, it wasn't. Logan's Run was what 75,
Earlier, yeah,
76,
70, late
something like that. So it
70s.
wasn't only a few years later.
All
Seems
right,
like these things were
do we
farther
want
apart,
to,
but they weren't.
yeah. In the little time we have left, do we want to talk about that scene, like the one scene? Do we want to talk about the monkey scene?
The monkey scene. Oh, what, when they were kind of torturing it?
Torturing a monkey, my god. So that would not fly by today's standards, but it was okay with the
Well,
ASPCA.
oh, because they had it like strapped down and stuff. I'd
No,
wondered if
the scene where they deliberately flooded his cage with CO2, causing him to pass out. And there was somebody just offset ready to rush in with oxygen and revive him, but I don't think that
yeah,
was.
no, that one, I don't know when all the rules about animals, like, because they used to do some horrific stuff in Hollywood back in the
Yeah,
day, like when they were making like Ben-Hur and stuff, and or like they would like to make horses fall in battle, they would literally trip them.
yeah.
You know, like they'd put a wire across it and make the horse run, and then it would trip and break it. Like they did some horrible, horrible things. And then
Chris
there
said
was a whole
no. Chris does
movement
not
of
want to talk about the monkey.
yeah. So there's a whole movement in Hollywood to I guess probably like ASPCA or
Yeah,
the whole
and
of the
this was kind
fought it,
of,
and now they have to have they have very strict rules. You can't abuse the animals or anything like
yeah.
that to make a film. Now they don't have to. They just CGI it and
But
yeah.
every report I read, and I started looking it up because I started getting real concerned about the monkey and the rat. But everything I read said the monkey did survive, so I hope that's true.
The rats, well, the funny thing is people worried about the monkeys, but nobody give a crap about the rats.
Nobody care about the rat. I'll kill the rat. That's fine.
But now you're right. They can't do that stuff even to a rat today. They have people that are on set whenever they are using animals to make
They
sure that
can't
they
even do
aren't
it to
abusing the
insects.
animals.
Like if you're in a scene with a bunch of insects and they use some real insects and some rubber insects, you have to be very, as the actor, you actually have to be careful. If you're acting scared, don't hurt the insects because they all have to go back to their like trainer or whatever. Oh, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
So yeah, Chris is saying charge of the light brigade. Many
Yeah.
horses died. So yeah, it was pretty a brutal thing that they were. We think about it back in the day they were doing, but
Yeah, Jeff
we've
the rat
evolved
abyss.
a bit since then.
The abyss, that's a real thing. The liquid that you can put in your lungs to breathe, that's a real thing.
It is a real thing. That was based on reality. Never bring that movie up with Darren Doctorman, by the way. I think he has PTSD from that film.
Oh yeah, it was a very tough shoot.
It was a very
very
difficult
tough
shoot. Yeah, nobody that worked on that movie wants to relive it, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's true. That was based in science. I don't know if people actually use that for anything or not, but anyway, yeah. So that was. I mean, although in the situation in the real, if this was the real world, I mean, you'd be like, okay, we got to, if the monkey's got to die to save the millions of people. And they still do animal testing.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a real thing. So
like
just not for
dogs
a
get
movie.
rescued all the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, but they do animal testing for medical reasons. It's horrible when they use it for things like, cosmetics or something. That's just horrible. That's just wrong. So, but unfortunately, I think it's a necessary evil for medical stuff. Anyway, I think we went through most of the cast that anybody
Yeah,
would
I'm
give
actually
a crap
just
about.
looking through my notes. The Piedmont and the people that died in town, they were like, okay, you want extras to lay around? And Robert Wise said no, because A, they'll breathe, and B, they'll lay pretty or they'll lay
They'll lay
comfortably.
pretty.
And I don't want that. These people have just died a horrific asphyxiation death where their blood turned to powder. They
Yeah,
need to be laying horribly. And
it was interesting because, like, so let's talk about that for a second, because they found some people that were just clearly dropped dead right where they were standing, but other people had time to do things before they died.
Yeah.
Like the woman that hung herself,
and the guy in
she felt it was the end of the world, or she was being punished or something. I don't know. She wrote a note. And then there was the guy who was dressed up in his old doughboy uniform, and he drowned himself in the tub. Which, what did the guy say? Is that even possible to do that? Like, put your head in the tub and drown yourself? I guess if you're determined. I don't know. I guess he's thinking your natural survival instinct would force you to lift your head.
You would think.
I think that's what he was driving
but
at.
But I think they were what they're saying, because they were kind of compromised. So that is what allowed him.
Yeah, so they were compromised, and I think they saw these people dying around them.
Yeah, and may be starting to feel symptoms themselves.
So I had the most sympathy for the old guy who was drinking the Sterno, because I wanted to kill that baby watching this movie. I mean, could you imagine? Why did they have to put the guy directly next to this crying baby for hours? I would have gotten out of it, probably smothered the baby at that point. It's just, but there was a scene where it's kind of funny where he's got his pillow over his head.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to hear the kid crying.
Because that's all I kept thinking is, I'm like, that poor guy, that baby. Stop the baby from crying. Put the whoopee in the mouth there, the thing. The plug. Put the plug. The plug, as we used to call it. Put the plug in.
The pacifier.
We used to call it the plug. Put the plug in. It works. Anyway, no, I mean, seriously though, I know they were probably doing that. It was probably intentional, but didn't you not find it getting on your nerves after a while? Like,
no,
stop
you know
the baby from crying.
Please stop it once or twice, and then I didn't hear it anymore. That might be a male-female thing. I don't know. It didn't bother me. But I did notice Paula. I did notice the black nurse Paula, who was constant. She's like, "Can I feed this kid now?" I did notice that.
Yeah, because she was like, "You're torturing." Because you were torturing the kid, but I understand what he was trying to do. He wanted it to cry because he was convinced it had something to do with immune.
Yeah.
So I understand what he was trying to do, but at some point you're like, you got to feed the kid here; it's going to die. Yeah. You can't just.
But as Phil is pointing out, it ratchets up the tension in the viewing audience, because
I agree. I think it was done on purpose.
The meantime, they're all down in the red. The red is psychologically amping you up. The screaming baby is amping you up. Those alarms that were blaring constantly were amping you up. It was a very jarring, on edge kind of movie for a movie that had no action, and it was just people standing there talking for 2 hours.
Yeah, no, I think it definitely, it was done intentionally, and it worked. Clearly it worked. I mean, that's the thing though. They say that they can take people's blood pressure, and when they hear babies crying, like, people's blood pressure will raise. It's all biological to get you. That's why babies cry, to annoy you enough to go deal with it.
I kind of loved, it was like the Jeffries tube at the Star Trek sector. You'd put your hands and swing feet first into the tube. And
into the
suit, and then use the suit to walk around, and you had this long tube behind you. But I noticed there's a table with all kinds of stuff on it, and she had walked around the table, but she has this massive tube dragging behind her, and it was like right up on the table, and I was like, she's gonna knock all that crap off that table.
Well, they did say they said the only thing in there that, I think there was a line where it said the only thing in the room sharp enough to puncture it is the scalpel. which
Oh,
was
that's right.
again
They
a bit
did
of
say that.
foreshadowing
Yes,
because that's what she used to cut him out
to
of
cut
the
him out.
thing to go into
Yeah,
the center,
yeah.
the
But I
center.
just noticed it was her or him. Actually, I don't know. It was one of the characters, and I noticed the way the tube was like right up on the table, and the table had all equipment on it. And I
Yeah,
remember thinking, like vials and glass jars and stuff. And I was like, you were gonna knock all that crap off and ruin your experiment. What do you do?
Phil's right. That is how the interceptor guys got to the
Yeah, the UFO
UFO.
interceptor lot too.
How they
Because
jumped
it's
into
just
the
like
slide down the
it's like
tube.
a B whatever bomber that like Roddenberry
It was a
and
B.
Jeffries
Yeah, it was basically was
B-17.
Matt Jeffries
B
came up with that
big
idea.
honking bomber, and you
It was
get
a
in and you put your hands on the bar and you swing feet first to
it was the chin hatch on a B-17. That's how you got in and out. Was basically feet first.
see what the
When you
crap
got
is.
out, you went out feet first.
Yeah, you could get in.
So that's why and how you kind of swing out, and that was his idea with. That's how when Scotty would come out of the Jeffries tube, which by the way is very difficult to do, and I have a lot of props for James Doohan for being able to do that because those of us that got to get to play on the sets try to do that, and it is hard as AF.
I think
To do that. Even the only person who actually did it was Doug Drexler, and even he's said it was really hard, and he's kind of a fire plug of a guy. So muscular and whatnot.
so.
So
No
it's not
swinging out,
easy.
kids.
Come swinging
No
out like
swinging out
that.
feet first.
It looks easy, but it's more of a strain on your body than you think.
Like an acrobatic. It's like a gymnastics kind of swing. You have to get the hips up and feet out.
Anyway,
So,
all right.
that's
Well,
all I got.
yeah, we're pretty much at the end of the hour. So yeah, I this is a good movie. It's a thriller. It's a classic sci-fi show. It goes up there along with a lot of other ones, particularly from the 70s. If you're taking the 70s out, you take Star Wars kind of out of that, because Star Wars was just kind of its own huge phenomenon. But if you really look back, there was a lot of good sci-fi in the 70s that really got overlooked because it became under the shadow of Star Wars and everybody's forgot everything. I think even James was saying at the set tour, he's like, I watched Logan's Run for the first time in years, and that was a really good movie. I'm like, yeah, it was.
James, where you been? Come on, Mr.
I know, right?
I love everything 1960s.
So
Join us
I
in
mean,
the
but I'm just saying,
70s.
there's a lot of films that came out either prior to or around the time of Star Wars that just completely are in the shadow of it. Nobody ever talks about them because they were just completely squashed by Star Wars. So this isn't really one of them because this was early on. This was around the same time as 2001: A Space Odyssey. But yeah, it's worth watching, and it is. I think it's still on Amazon Prime for another week or so.
It did get remade in the.
There was a remake of it. I can't remember.
Speak to that. I don't know if it was any good.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth.
There was a TV show called Andromeda or Andromeda. It's just called Andromeda. It's something different. Okay, yeah.
That's a different show. Andromeda is a
completely different show.
Okay. That's actually a Gene Roddenberry show.
Oh, is it
Andromeda?
Really?
Yeah. So anyway,
all right. Roy is he had to push off. He was going to do a tribute to Sid and Marty Krofft last weekend. He pushed it off to this weekend, which is we actually May 1st. Are we coming up on May 1st? No, we're not. He pushed it to May 1st, so that's in 2 weeks. Phil, there's all kinds of stuff going on for Phil. Tomorrow afternoon, if he doesn't get bumped by another interview, he will be playing Magenta's new album, Tarot, which he says is magnificent. I should probably check it out. He'll be doing the normal Friday night freeform, and then he'll also be vending at Coxsackie at a new flea market. And if you guys don't know Phil, he always has all kinds of amazing collector stuff. Rizzo, I think that's where you get all your Space 1999 stuff. It's from Phil.
Phil, I get some. Yes, some.
Yeah, get some. And then WSB is also having a prog rock marathon sort of starting Saturday at 6. So he'll be there and playing all kinds of music. So yeah, if you've got nothing else to do, tune into WUSB radio. It's kind of all Phil all the time.
Phil's saying mention sci-fi to still get 5% off. Do we get a percentage of that 5%?
Do you get a percentage if you mention?
Do we get a cut of that, Phil?
Do we get a cut of the 5%?
That's 5% of nothing is still nothing.
Vending in Coxsackie, and I didn't even say where you're vending. Did you tell me where? Did you say where? It just says a new flea market in Coxsackie.
How many flea markets can there be in Coxsackie?
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
I'm not going to say the name of that. That name of that town is just wrong. I'm not saying it anymore.
COX. It's fine. Rizzo, what are we doing?
I don't know.
Said 9W, Coxsackie, New York. What are we doing next week?
I don't know. We'll figure something out. As always. What did we say? What Roy was doing?
Roy had to push off Sid and Marty Croft. I don't know if he's doing anything this weekend. I looked up on his.
This weekend, those of you who are in northern New England, is the Essex Junction, it's Essex Junction, Vermont.
Yes, it's at Essex Junction.
Yeah, there's this Vermont Sci-Fi Convention, and Bruce Boxleitner and Michael Crichton, I think, are the two biggest names. I'll be there for at least Saturday. Just gonna get my photo up.
And some other folks.
If you're around, say me, say hey. If not, oh well. So that's the biggest thing going on, I think, right now, locally. So, all right. On that note, we will say good night, and as always, live long and prosper. And may the force be with you. Good night, folks.